Hello, everyone. Tony here. US stock markets concluded a turbulent week, falling on Friday, driven by President Trump threatening a 50% tariff on the EU from June the 1st due to slow trade negotiations. He also threatened a potential 25% levy on Apple if production doesn't shift to the US. Although President Trump has since extended the EU trade deal deadline to July the 9th, prompting a rebound in S&P futures today, what we can see if we step back is that the recent recovery in US equity markets from those April lows has now allowed Trump to take a stronger stance on tariffs and trade policy. So we think that has unveiled what we would call the Trump call after the Trump put was revealed during the April sell off. Looking ahead, Nvidia is set to report its earnings at the end of this week, and the market is anticipating an EPS of 88 cents on $43.26 billion in revenues. The options market is suggesting a potential $11 swing in either direction after that release. Beyond Nvidia's earnings, investors will also focus on continued tariff news, fiscal concerns, and the upcoming FOMC meeting minutes and the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, the core PCE price index. Let's take a look at the charts of the NASDAQ and the S&P to see where they are as we start this new week. So this is the correction from the February highs down to the April lows. And from the April lows, we have seen the rally in the NASDAQ unfold in three waves at this point of time. Here's your one, your two, your wave three. This is, of course, Elliott wave. Now, Elliott wave, we're looking for a five-wave impulsive advance. And what I think we have seen following this rejection from Wednesday's highs is the beginning of the retracement of wave four. So I'm looking for the wave four to trade into this area here. It may well be done. I don't think it is at this point of time. It may well be done after that rebound we've seen in US equity futures this morning. But my preference is still for a decline into this area here. So somewhere above the 200-day moving average, which comes in around 20,305. And from there, I would expect the NASDAQ to regroup and push up towards this wave five high, which brings it into line with the record highs we seen back in February. Now, again, because of the unveiling of that Trump call, which we saw last week, I'm not convinced we're going to break through this high. I suspect that we probably push up towards 22,000 and then fall away. Now, if at any point we see the NASDAQ lose the support coming from our 200-day moving average and the support coming from this 19,234 high, reinforced by this 19,152 low, I suspect that would probably suggest that the rally has run its course and we could see a retest of these April lows. For the S&P 500, what you can see is a similar wave count. This is the correction from February down to the April lows. And you have your wave one, your wave two, your wave three, and your wave four, as we suggested last week, has already started to unfold. Now, it's testing or has tested the 200-day moving average. So it's got a little bit further down or in terms of its retracement levels than what the NASDAQ has actually done. But we see the NASDAQ as probably the high beta leader. So that suggests we could see a little bit of overshoot, potentially to fill this gap from the 8th of May high. So somewhere into this area here, I would expect to see the pullback in the S&P to run its course before regrouping and then pushing up towards this 6,100, 6,150 area. Now, again, if we were to see the S&P 500 break, well, fill this gap and then break below 5,700 and then break below a layer of support around 5,500, I think that would suggest that the S&P 500 has run its course and we could see a retest of the lows. Now, a retest of the lows is not my base case at this point of time. My base case is to find support in this area here before another push higher. And then where we go from there could involve a retest of these lows. But as I said, the base case is to find some support in this area here for the S&P and the NASDAQ and to again see another push higher to complete a five-wave advance. Thanks for listening and have a great week ahead.